I'm Andrew.
I'm Melissa.
This is 12 Days of Vlogmas. Now on to the video.
Cheers.
This is Braggin's Adventures. Hey everybody, Andrew from Braggin's Adventures. Welcome to part 2 of our Cruising to Alaska video. Today we're going to cover days 5 through 7. If you haven't watched part 1, you should go check that out first, or if you feel like watching them out of order, I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. Anyway, this is going to take us from Skagway to Icy Strait Point and then through a fjord. Pretty amazing few days. So we're going to start off day 5 with the MDR breakfast. That's the main dining room. You know, that was like a whole load of meat and an English muffin and some eggs, and it was a delicious little platter. Again, the main dining room breakfast is complimentary. That is included in your cruise fare. We have a whole dining aboard Carnival Miracle playlist that you can go check out. Plus, we review all the food in depth, so make sure you watch that video as well. After breakfast, we arrived in port in beautiful and gorgeous Skagway, Alaska. Skagway is probably my favorite Alaskan port. I have been here 3 times, and I will never not go back. I love Skagway. This time we decided to do something a little different, and we took a little hike out to Yakutania Point. Just Alyssa and I did this one. You got to kind of walk through what looks like an industrial area before you get to this bridge, and then you take the bridge over to the trail, and the trail takes you all the way out to the land's end there, and you can keep wrapping around as far as you can make it. This was an absolutely gorgeous trail, and I think something that's probably going to get added to our must-do list next time we go to Skagway, because we had that much fun. It takes you kind of along the water a little bit, and then you kind of go inland a little bit, and then you get back out by the water a little bit, and then you go back inland a little bit. But for the most part, at any given point, you can see ocean water, and that Alaskan cold ocean water has that kind of like gray blue, that really pretty color to it that I love so much from all the ice melt. We had beautiful views of our ship as well as the other ships that were in port from one particular stop along the trail. And after we played on these rocks for a bit, and you could tell it's pretty chilly there, we're kind of bundled up. We headed inland a little bit more, found a cave, did some cool stuff. We have a whole Skagway video that has this trail in depth and has our review of this trail. But I'll give you a little sneak peek. I highly recommend doing this trail. We had a blast doing it. And you know what? We pretty much had it to ourselves for the most part. We saw a few other people on the way in, and then a lot more people on the way out. So make sure you do this early. Get off the ship right after breakfast, head over, do this trail. You'll have it to yourself, and you'll have a really good time. We headed back into town and grabbed one of my favorite little snacks up in Skagway from Klondike Doughboy. This is an Alaskan fry bread that we're going to grab from here. We got it last time, I think it was in 2018, for the first time. I did not have this back when I was here in 2007. I'm never not going to have it though. It's very reminiscent of a Indian fry bread, which we obviously love. So we were happy to find this little gem up there. It's a cute little like general store, but then they're fresh making this fry bread right in front of you. And you get it sprinkled with the cinnamon and sugar, and it's all yummy, gooey, and warm. Oh, super cool. There is no place to eat it there though, so you're either gonna walk around eating this massive thing, which is the size of my head, or we found a little bench area for like for lack of a better word, it was like a food truck park, but there were no food trucks open at that time. So we went and sat over there and ate it. It's just a short walk away. Not too bad of a time to head over there. We do review this fry bread in full on that Skagway video, but I've been gushing over it during this video, so you obviously know it's gonna taste really, really good. Alright guys, up next we're going to head over to Woody's, super nearby where we were just now, and I had seen, I think, one review about this place. I was like, oh, that'd be cool, but it happened to be open when we were hungry, so we headed over there, and I got to tell you, while we review this in full on that Skagway video, I'm just going to tell you right now, this is some of the best seafood I've ever eaten in my entire life. life. Alyssa's the fish and chips aficionado, and she absolutely loved them. Fresh crab's always good. The chowder was amazing, and ice cold beers from a local brewery. You can never ever go wrong with that. Klondike Brewing Company is where these beers are from. We've been there before. We were there back in 2018. We didn't head in there this time in particular. The hike took a little bit, and then we wanted to try some new things that we hadn't done before. But just know, Klondike Brewing Company is a great place to go grab an ice cold beer. And you can get a flight there. They have a cool little tasting room that you can check out. But back to this place, back to Woody's. Highly recommend that you head over here and grab a bite to eat. Do it early. It did get fairly crowded, so if you go at the earlier end of the lunch period, you'll be in pretty good shape. If you wait until like the heart of the lunch period, you're going to be waiting in a pretty long line. It's pretty cool. They shout your name out the window, and you can go grab your food and take it out, and they have this little outdoor seating area. It's dog friendly, so there were some pups running around. But like I say, you can't beat these views. You can't beat this food. Definitely want to check out Woody's next time you're in Skagway, Alaska. All right, up next, we're going to head to one of our favorite spots in Skagway, Alaska. This is Skagway Spirits. It's a small distillery, and it's super off the beaten path. It is off the main street. I'm gonna call it, for lack of a better word, northwest. I'm not really familiar with what way their roads run, but I'm gonna say it's northwest of town. Little bit of a walk, but if you're willing to make that journey, they have some of the best mixed drinks using their spirits that I've ever had. So they currently have gin and vodka that they make, and then they're gonna have whiskey very, very soon. We discovered this place back in 2018, and we had to go back. The prices are pretty decent. They'll give you a free sample of their spirits, and the guy will educate you on how it's made, what's in it. All their ingredients there, though, are homemade. Like, they don't bring in a Bloody Mary mix for like my Bloody Mary. They don't buy prepackaged herbs. They're fresh grating their ginger and stuff like that. So everything's gonna be handmade here, hand done, and the bartenders are happy to explain to you how they do it. It's definitely worth a stop, in my opinion, if you're down with taking that long walk back there, because there's not much else to see over in that direction. But you know, give it a try, especially if you like craft liquor and craft alcohol. All right, we're gonna head back towards town to the Happy Ending Saloon. This was kind of a, hey, let's go in there, that looks cool kind of place. It is definitely a locals bar. This is 100% a locals joint, but we did talk to them, and they did say that on days when the ships are in, they get a little more tourists, but this place is packed pretty much year round, because the locals all go here. This is where they go for that after work drink. They've got a couple of pool tables, and honestly, they made some pretty darn good cocktails. They have this really cool thing out back. It's like this whole court where you can play cornhole, and they do tournaments and stuff there too. So I thought that was pretty cool. And they have all this bar seating out there. Happy Ending Saloon is definitely a place I would go back to, and hopefully spend a little more time there next time. I think that would be pretty cool. Well, we did some shopping after the Happy Ending Saloon in town, and believe me, there is plenty of shopping to do in Skagway. We decided to go ahead and head back to the ship. We were pretty exhausted after that hike, in all honesty, and it was getting a little chilly, and we have a lot of food we wanted to try on the ship this particular day. So we headed back and went straight to Guy's Burger Joint. You know, you've seen it before in these videos. We love Guy's, and again, we do review Guy's Burger Joint in full on our Guy video that is linked to in the description below, so you definitely want to check that out. Guy's Burgers, best burgers at sea. I've said it before and I'll say it again, but they can be hit and miss. Occasionally you're gonna get a really dry patty and you're gonna be really upset about it, but you know what? It's included in your cruise fare, so just go get another one and enjoy that one instead, right? We tried, I think we were, at this point in the trip, we were up to the last couple of burgers on their menu. So the chili burger, I think, was one of them. They call it the Chili Maximus. Messy, tasty, but it got the job done. And then this burger that Alyssa made here is like the one with the bacon patty on top of it. I can't remember what it's called right now, but if you go check out our guys' video, we go through it in detail. It's pretty cool. And then for some reason, we were like, hey, let's go grab more food. And we hit the Lido Marketplace and grabbed an entire platter of egg rolls, not just for the two of us, and then some chow mein, because chow mein's always good. And then we decided to head straight on over to the Red Frog Pub because it's karaoke afternoon. We got one of these fish bowls. So on one day of the cruise, they'll have a happy hour. And on that day, the fish bowls are discounted substantially. So a fishbowl is basically a giant version of any of the drinks off their menu with a couple of exceptions. There's, I think, 2 that you cannot get as a fishbowl. But it's enough. You're gonna get wasted off this thing. Make sure you share it. I wouldn't drink it on your own. We actually got on their wall of fame with drinking the fishbowl. They took our photo and we got to play with the rest of the cruise up on that screen. And then we spent the afternoon karaokeing. I mean, we were there for hours just singing away. I would do a song, Alyssa would do a song, Tyler did a song, we'd all do a song, and then obviously all the other people in there were singing as well. Pretty good crowd for karaoke, pretty good time. Probably one of my probably my second favorite time karaokeing on a cruise ship. My most favorite was on the Radiant. Everybody was there, and Tyler and a couple of the staff from the Red Frog pub on that ship were twerking while I was singing Baby Got Back. So that was always a good time. And there is video of that floating around somewhere on our channel, but I'm not going to point you straight to it. You're going to have to find that one on your own. After literally, it must have been 3 hours that we were in here karaoke. We were a little hungry again, so we headed over to the Carnival Deli. Again, we've been reviewing every deli sandwich. You can check out that video after you're done watching this one if you'd like. But I think we were pretty much at the point where we were wrapping up this one as well. That was a really good one, by the way. But you'll have to check out our full review of that over on the other video. But just know, deli sandwiches, I mentioned it in yesterday's episode, they can be hit and miss, and it depends a lot on who's making it. Some of the workers, I feel like, do get a little bit lazy in how they top them and a little bit sloppy. But if you get a really good one that's there to win it, they're there to make that sandwich for you, and that's all that they're interested in doing, you're gonna have a really fantastic bite to eat. And I mentioned it before, but I do want to bring it up one more time. It's complimentary. The deli is included in your cruise fare. They are open 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. So it's a great spot to also grab that late night snack. Maybe help soak up some of that booze that you've been drinking on board the cruise ship, right? Alright guys, after a super fun day, we are going to close this out with some more food over at the Lido Marketplace. We did take it up to the Serenity deck to eat it in that little outdoor area that I've mentioned before. Just because it's a little quieter, I prefer that over being over by the pools, if I'm being honest. And that's day 5 in Skagway, Alaska, guys. Super fun time, but I am beat. So we're going to head back to the room, check out our adorable towel animal, and I will see you bright and early for day 6. Good morning, everybody. Day 6, and we're going to start in the main dining room for some delicious breakfast before heading out to Icy Strait Point. I'll mention it now so I don't have to mention it later. We do have an entire video on Icy Strait Point that goes into deep detail about all the things that you can do there, not just the stuff that we did. But while we're here in the dining room, I just want to mention, I love the dining room breakfast. It's always good. It's pretty consistent overall. And we find that we have a couple favorites there and we stick with them. All right, let's head to Icy Strait Point. It's a fairly long gangway to get off the ship when you are in Icy Strait Point. And we are docked in the ocean dock, which is kind of the middle of the 3 places where your cruise ship might head. I feel like this is the one that they're using most often if there's only going to be 1 or 2 ships in port. There is a trail over to the other dock called Wilderness Landing. It's an oceanside trail for about the first half, and then you head up into the hill a little bit and into the forest, and it's absolutely stunning. One of my favorite hikes that I've ever done, actually, just because it's fairly mellow. We all did it. Everyone in the group did this hike, and we actually did it twice, once on the way in and then once on the way out. It's calm, it's quiet, it's peaceful. They do have a warning at the beginning of the trail that says watch for bears. We did not see any bears, but we did see a pretty cool thing that I'll get to later on in the video. So what we did, our choice was to, instead of get off the ship and head straight over to where everything is, we wanted to do this hike, so we thought, let's start our day with it. So we're gonna take it over to this Wilderness Landing area, and once you get to Wilderness Landing, there is a store with souvenirs, and there is a food place I'll touch base on later, some restrooms that you can use, and then there's a gondola. This gondola will take us back over to Ocean Landing where our ship docked, right? So this was a good round trip to take, and it allowed us to go see Wilderness Landing without it feeling like a wasted trip. Now, Interestingly enough, we had a good time on the gondola, we had a good time on the hike, and we thought Tyler would really enjoy the hike. So at the end of our day, we're going to take the gondola back to Wilderness Landing and then take the hike back to Ocean Landing. And honestly, that's the way I recommend you do it, because everybody got off the ship and headed straight from Ocean Landing towards the cannery. So we had the trail basically to ourselves. And then we were able to get right onto a gondola from this end because other people were taking the gondola first instead of the hike. This is the way I would do it if I was you. And, you know, I've said it before in this video, I'm not here to tell you how to live your life, but if you want to live your life right, do it in this order. Do the hike first, then the gondola. Gondola's pretty good, temperature controlled, smooth ride. It's not very fast, but it's not terribly slow either. We had a gondola all to ourselves, and you know, it's pleasant. Unfortunately, we did not get to see any bears from the gondola either. Melissa's very upset that we did not get to see any bears on this trip. Alright, so once we get off the gondola, we're going to take this trail over to the cannery. Now, when I was here way back in 2007, the cannery was all that existed. All these new cruise, Ocean Landing, Wilderness Landing, the gondolas, all that stuff did not exist. You tender ported over by the cannery, you shopped around the cannery, you got back on the tender to get back on your ship. None of this existed. So it was pleasant to be able to do these new things. I do remember this trail existing out to the whale statue, but that's honestly it. And then you turn around and you walk back. There was no like mountain hiking or anything you can do. This port has a lot of excursions that you can take. This port was specifically built out by a cruise line to be a cruise port. So it is very catered, I feel like, towards you paying for excursions. But we didn't, and we had a perfectly fine time. Again, you can check out that full review in the Icy Strait Point video. But before we move on for today, I do want to just take you through some of the stuff that we did do very, very briefly. Look at those views. Alright, so we're going to start at the Icy Strait Museum. This is a giant museum and a bunch of shops. Now, yes, one or two of the little shops or booths, for lack of a better word, is kind of kitschy stuff. But there are also some local artisan shops in here where you're going to get local handmade stuff from people that actually live here in Hoonah, which is where Icy Strait Point is. I highly recommend you support those shops as opposed to the ones where it's the same keychain that you're going to get in every single store in Alaska. The museum's also very educational. We learned a lot reading just the plaques. All right, we're gonna grab a bite to eat at one of the three main restaurants in Icy Strait. This is the Crab House. There's the Duck Point Smokehouse, and then Burger Joint. But obviously, I mean, look at that Bloody Mary. You know I'm gonna go into the Crab House and try that. So, reindeer chilies on the menu, salmon like chowder, the crab, obviously, and then that Bloody Mary. The food here is great. We go into it in detail in that other video for you, but I didn't eat at the other restaurants, so I can't say for certain that you should or should not eat at the Crab House, but you should definitely eat at the Crab House. All right, after our little lunch, we headed out back and found a fourth option for dining. It's for snacks only though. It's called Little Jen's, and they're mini donuts. They do support the Salvation Army. I'll leave it up to you if you want to do that or not. But the donuts were darn delicious. And the best part is I didn't even have to pay for them because Aaron did, and then he shared. Super good little donut holes. That's exactly what they are. They're donut holes with a lot of flavor, and they have a wide variety for you to choose from. I actually don't know how they're making them so fresh in that tiny little shack with that much variety of flavor profiles. But they did, and it was yummy. After our donuts, we decided to take the walk, the beachside walk back towards Ocean Landing. And like I mentioned before, we jumped on the gondola and took it back over to Wilderness Landing, where I'm going to show you right now. We're going to grab a bite to eat again, like we haven't eaten enough in this port already, right? We're going to go grab a bite to eat again over at Wilderness Landing at a place called Wild Tacos. Now, Wild Tacos is built out to look like a food truck, but it's actually kind of a permanent install there. And then they have this little shaded spot to eat right outside from there. I gotta tell you, extremely overpriced for what it is. but these tacos were phenomenal. But I'm sorry, $13 for a taco is just, for a street size taco, is just too much. The beers were tasty though. The taco, the flavor profile on these tacos was absolutely phenomenal. If you're hungry, get them. If you know, it's hard to say for me. If we weren't about to do the hike again, I probably would not have tried them. If it wasn't for this vlog, I probably would not have tried them at that price. But it is the only dining option over on that end of Icy Strait Point. So, you know, if you're over there and you are hungry and you're willing to spend $13 on a taco, they're very tasty tacos. If you can hold out till you get back onto your ship, I would wait until you get back onto the ship and go grab Blue Iguana Cantina, because those are also very tasty tacos. All right, so after we grabbed these tacos, we took the hike back on that first trail that we did, and I gotta just tell you right now, I'm gonna show you a little surprise that we got to see. Check this out, guys. This is a bald eagle, like the size of a minivan, up there in the trees. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, so stunning. Absolutely one of the coolest things ever. Huge nest up there, so it was pretty cool. All right, so this is the beachside portion of the trail. We're headed back to the ship. You can see the gangway there in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, and Alyssa decided she wanted to bounce on this log, and she made it the whole way across without falling, so we're all very impressed. Again, beautiful views of your ship from this trail, so make sure you get those photos in. But right now, we're gonna head back on board. We're at the Carnival Deli trying a couple more of their sandwiches just for you, for no one else. Again, you can watch the full review video of all the Carnival Deli sandwiches on the video linked in the description below. These ones are pretty good, although, see, this is where it gets hard, because these were free sandwiches versus overpriced tacos. Tacos tasted better than the sandwiches did, but I didn't have to pay for the sandwiches, right? It's a good time though, and you can tell we're back up on Serenity Deck there. That was our favorite place the entire cruise to go take any of our food other than main dining room stuff and eat, just because it is so quiet. It was easy for us to film back there as well. You'll find that in the detailed videos that we're actually talking live about what we're eating. So definitely want to go check those out. Still hungry though, so we're gonna head back into Lido Marketplace and grab a couple of plates of food. As you can tell, we super duper like the Chinese section, but we tried a few different things. They had some tempura vegetables there, and then some really yummy looking pastas. While at the Serenity Bar, we decided to buy a pitcher. Remember, on this cruise, we did not do the Cheers package, so we decided to do some stuff that we normally wouldn't get to do. So we got this pitcher of sangria. If you're buying those bulk drinks like pitchers, they are discounted slightly from individuals, so they are of value if you don't have the Cheers package. And you know we're gonna keep eating today, so we went to Pizza Pirate to try another slice or two of their pizza. Again, it's always only for you guys that we're eating all this food and beverage. We actually have another cruise coming up. Well, at the time of me recording this voiceover, we're only about 6 days away from being on a cruise ship again, and we're hitting up the Panorama. Now, we're not gonna eat every slice of pizza again, because we're doing that right now for you in this video. But we will be sure to try new foods that are available on the Panorama for you and compare and contrast them. So look out for those videos coming in late January, early February for sure. This slice that Alyssa's eating right now is a little weird. I don't think they have one prepared, so they threw ingredients from multiple pizzas onto one and tried to call it it was a little odd. Anyway, we went inside and we headed to the Alchemy Bar to grab a couple of drinks. I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to do it again. We do have that every drink on the Alchemy menu video that you should check out, especially if you like those craft cocktails and that showmanship experience at the Alchemy Bar. Definitely want to check that out. We'll tell you what's good and what's bad in that video. Hint, I only found one drink truly bad at the Alchemy Bar, and I will never order it again. You'll have to watch that other video to find out what it is, but most of their beverages are super tasty. Plus, if there's not something you see on the menu that's striking your fancy, you can tell the alchemist what you generally like, and they'll make a custom drink just for you. You can like name an alcohol or name a flavor profile, or say, hey, I like grapefruit but I hate pineapple, I love whiskey but I hate vodka, whatever. They will craft you a custom drink just for you, and they're all the same price, so you can't really go wrong with that style. All right, time for dinner in the main dining room. Lots more food, guys. Man, it's just eating, isn't it? I guess we did a couple of hikes today, so we can warrant eating all this food, right? I am showing you images not just of what Alyssa and I ate, but what other members of our party ate, so do keep that in mind. We didn't finish all these entrees ourselves. I mean, you just saw us have guys and the deli and the pizza and the Lido buffet all in one afternoon right before dinner. So just know that we're sharing, the table sharing everything. After dinner, we headed back to the Alchemy Bar. They have 19 drinks on their menu, so we had to go to the Alchemy Bar often to get 19 drinks because we didn't want to get super plastered trying them all in a row. Beach Please is one of our favorite vlogs that we watch. I will link to them in the description below, but they did one time. They went to the Alchemy Bar and tried all 19 drinks in one sitting, and they are absolutely plastered by the end and just a joy to watch. You might need subtitles turned on because they are kind of hard to understand in that video because of the slurring, but we decided we didn't want to go that route, but we still wanted to review every beverage. That's why you'll see us frequently in this video series going back to the Alchemy Bar to get that next beverage. After our drinks, we're gonna head over to the Phantom Lounge. This is that main show lounge, catching one of the Broadway quality, Broadway style shows. We sat up in the balcony for this one because we did get there a little late, so we wanted to be sure to grab a seat. Just know that the Broadway shows fill up really quickly, so if you're not planning on getting there a half hour early, you're not gonna be sitting down on floor level. But the set moves, the choreography, the vocalists, everything about these shows is so entertaining to watch. I highly recommend at least catching one or two Broadway shows. If you're only on a 3-day cruise, only catch one. But if you're on a longer cruise like this, you really have no reason not to catch every single show that they have to offer. They're super talented people. I love going in to see these shows. They're short, so you don't feel like you're in there the whole time, but you're having a good time and getting great entertainment. Plus, the technical aspects are always entertaining me. Look at this laser show. This is so much fun for someone like me to watch who comes from a lighting and theatrical background. This kind of stuff is fascinating to me, and the fact that it's all happening on a moving ship is the highlight, right? Super good time. Definitely want to check that out. I'm super excited for the cruise coming up in January because I saw the drones are back on the panorama, so they have drones as part of this Broadway style show. We'll show you that in a future video, obviously. All right, after the show, we went up and did a silent disco on the Lido deck. If you don't know what a silent disco is, basically you get headphones, you're listening to one music, maybe the person next to you is listening to a different music, but you're both dancing along and having a good time. But anybody walking by can't hear anything at all. They just see a bunch of crazy people dancing to no music at all. They are a really good time. This particular version was something different. Instead of just having different channels you could listen to with like pre-recorded music, this actually had 2 different DJs. So it was kind of like a battle. Like you picked which DJ you wanted to listen to, and then they did a couple of contests and stuff like that. Like this DJ's group dance over here, this DJ's group dance over here. Occasionally when you're dancing, you line up with the other people that are dancing, but most of the time y'all just look like a bunch of crazy chickens running around with your head cut off. But it's always a good time. I highly recommend if you get the chance to do a silent disco, not just on a cruise ship, anywhere, do it at least one time. It was super fun. This was my second silent disco that I ever done, but the first one was at Knott's Berry Farm, and it was a lot smaller and a much tighter space. But this version on the cruise ship, so much fun. I mean, we took up like that whole section by the swimming pool in front of the Lido stage on board the Miracle. And I mean, you can see how many people are having a blast. You check out the headphones, make sure you hand them in so you don't get billed for them. And I assure you, Alyssa singing right now is not singing the same thing that's playing in my ear. All right. We decided to head over to the piano bar after the silent disco. The piano bar is always a hopping place at night, especially post-show. If you get in there after that late show on this ship, all the performers go in and they're singing with the pianist and everybody's having a good time. Super duper loud in there, I will tell you that right now. Absolutely one of the loudest venues I've been in on this ship. Different from the piano bars that kind of feel like afterthoughts. On the Radiance, the piano bar feels like they just shoved it in what used to be a conference room or something. This was built out to be a piano bar. This was so much fun. Very long bar, plenty of space for you to belly up, and then they have little seating lounge areas all around, and then the pianist is kind of elevated up on a stage. Really good time. I highly recommend the piano bar on any cruise ship where it looks like it was planned out. If the piano bar is that afterthought that they just shoved a piano and some folding chairs in a room, those you could skip. But if the piano is actually built into the bar area, go check those out, like on the Spirit class ships. All right, after the piano bar, it's getting pretty late, but we definitely wanted to stay up late to check out the Lido Marketplace for the late night snacks. This is not to be confused with the late night buffet that they had back in the 80s. This is not in the main dining room. It's not a buffet per se. It's late night snacks. This is stuff designed to help soak up the booze you've been drinking all day. And they do it every single night. It's not the best food on the planet, but if you're drunk enough, it hits the spot, I guess. They had some cookies and some cold salad, and then these chili dog things, these weird ham-baked sandwich things, pizza that was not pizza, pirate pizza, some soup and some chips and salsa, and then chicken nuggets, for lack of a better. I think it said chicken wings, but they were not chicken wings. They were more like nugget style. Again, this is like some mediocre food, guys. That late night buffet or late night snacks at the Lido buffet is not designed for the foodie in you. It's designed for the I need something in my stomach so that I don't wake up with a hangover person. Just keep that in mind. Would I stay up again for it? No. I would rather go grab a slice of pizza from Pizza Pirate, which is open until like 4 o'clock in the morning, and have that than put myself through eating any of this again, in all honesty. Granted, the one night we tried it might have been an off night. Give it a chance. You let me know in the comments below if you had a better experience. It's just that everything was so dry from being under those heat lamps. And not a lot of people are staying up late to eat this, so it sits under the heat lamps longer than, say, when you go for lunch or something and the food's constantly being turned over. Alright guys, this is where we're ending our day 6 though in Icy Strait Point. We literally stayed up late specifically just to go try these late night snacks. We are absolutely exhausted after our day. So we're gonna see you in the morning. We'll say goodnight for now, and we'll join you tomorrow for day 7. Good night. Good morning, everybody. It is day 7, and we're going to go through the Endicott Fjord. Now, this is listed as a port on your cruise, the Alaskan Cruises, no matter what cruise line you're doing, whatever ship you're doing. It is not actually a port, though. It is a sea day, technically. You stay on the ship. It is a sailing day. They do offer one excursion that brings a small boat up along the ship, and you get off the ship onto the small boat, so you can get slightly closer to the glacier. But I don't think it's worth it. So anyway, we're gonna start our day in the main dining room for breakfast. We love our breakfast in the main dining room. I think I've said it about 100 times during this video. It's absolutely delicious. It's pretty consistent. We like trying new things, but we also enjoy our favorites. We have been disappointed 1 or 2 times before, but for the most part, the food's pretty tasty at breakfast time and fairly quick, if you will. You're not spending the hour and a half or the 2 hours like you would at dinner time. Their goal is to get you in and out of there in the morning, and I think that's a pretty good and efficient way to do it, if I'm being honest. We wanted to finish breakfast fairly quickly so we could get up on deck, because the whole idea of traveling through a fjord and getting close to a glacier is you want to be out on deck so that you can see it. So right after breakfast, we grabbed our binoculars, we headed up, so as we traveled through the Endicott Fjord to get back to the Dawes Glacier, we could find some great views and some great spots to check out all the stunning nature that there is to see. I gotta tell you, traveling through a fjord is one of our favorite days on the Alaskan Cruises. You're gonna want to bundle up because it does get cold the closer into the glacier you get, and as you're going through the fjord and the land's getting closer and closer to you on both sides, it can be a bit chilly. So wear those beanies, wear that light coat, maybe gloves if your hands get cold. Don't forget the binoculars though. An Alaskan cruise, you always want to make sure that you pack binoculars, and especially for whatever fjord you're traveling through, you want to have those out. You're close enough to land that you can get those binoculars out. You're probably going to see some goats, maybe some bears, different kinds of birds that you haven't been able to see, and some of the birds that you have been able to see. Honestly, it is one of our favorite days. They usually set up a special bar up on deck too, and by special bar I mean a folding table with a tablecloth where they do some warm beverages, spiked hot cocoa, spiked tea, spiked coffees, that kind of thing. So having that warm drink up on deck. I will tell you, it gets fairly crowded up on deck because obviously everybody's trying to see see the same thing you are. I go into more detail about that in our Endicott Fjord video, which you can check out via the link in the description below. Just know it's going to be probably one of your favorite days in Alaska, because yeah, it's a sea day, but it feels like something so much more. Now, obviously, this 6 hours that we're in this fjord, we didn't spend 6 hours up on deck staring at beauty. Beauty can get exhausting to look at. Just ask me. I look at my wife every single day. So we headed inside to grab a plate of food and warm our bellies a little bit. Obviously, we went to the Carnival Deli. We're still reviewing all those deli sandwiches for you. But these were warm sandwiches. They have the cold menu and the warm menu. So we tried one warm and then one cold to try to wrap these up. The sandwiches are tasty and they hit the spot every single time. But you got to take those breaks from being outside. So we headed in, grabbed these, and took them over to an area where they were going to do some trivia. This is that little seating area. I think I mentioned it in the last video in this series. It's right outside the Java Blue Cafe by the Red Frog Pub and the piano bar. It's just kind of a large seating area, and they do a lot of the arts and crafts, the trivias, the games, the onboard games back there. So we went here specifically for this trivia, and I can't even tell you what trivia it was, but we're like, yeah, let's go do it. We might be good at that one. I don't think we actually won this one, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm pretty sure this was general knowledge trivia. But we gave it our best. You can see all our scribble marks there and whatnot. And then we stuck around for a second round of trivia there before heading to the main dining room for lunch. You remember I mentioned in the last video that they only do lunch on longer cruises in the main dining room. Most of the time you're going to have breakfast or brunch and then dinner in the main dining room. But on these longer cruises, you'll get lunch 1 or 2 days as an alternate to the brunch. The food at lunchtime was pretty good. I mentioned in the last video there's some lighter, healthier choices, not quite as heavy as the brunch options or the dinner options or anything you're going to find up on the buffet other than a salad bar. And those salad bars can ruin the diet if you add any of those high calorie dressings anyway, or all the lunch meats like I do. After lunch, we headed to the Skybox Sports Bar. Honestly, and if I'm being honest, this is probably my least favorite bar on the ship. A, I'm not much of a sports guy, so it's not really my jam. But B, I also felt like the bartender there was more interested in watching the games on the TV than actually taking care of any of the customers that were in there. I had to flag him down. He wasn't helping anyone else. He was leaning against the wall watching the sports things. And I was like, bro, can I just get a drink? Why did we go in here? It's part of that bar hop video we did for this ship that you should check out. It's linked in the description below. I won't be going back to the sports bar at any point on this ship. I know we're going to go to Heroes Tribute Bar on the Panorama when we do that bar hop video for you, but that will probably be the only time I do that as well. The Heroes Tribute Bar on the Panorama is the sports bar for that ship. It's not my jam. If you dig it, great. I'm not talking down on it. Just know you might have to wait for a drink because the guy's more interested in watching the game. We grabbed another bite to eat at the Lido Marketplace. Gee, does that look like the Chinese food station to you? Yes it is, and yes, it was absolutely delicious. After grabbing that quick bite to eat, we're gonna head to the Punchliner Comedy Club. On this particular day, they were doing a special daytime comedy show. Normally the comedy shows don't happen till the evening and then later at night. You get the I'm gonna call it the PG-13 rated earlier in the evening, and then the R-rated late at night. But this was a G-rated comedy show right in the middle of the day. So we grabbed a couple of drinks up at the Serenity deck and brought them down. And we've never been to the comedy club before. I think one time on our first cruise, we went in for like 5 minutes at the very tail end of a show and then had to go see a different show. I don't remember, but we never sat through a whole comedy thing in here. Punchliner Comedy Club on the Miracle is one of my favorite spots because of the Mad Hatter decor. It's fun. I think it's cool. You don't film the comedy shows, they ask you not to, so I just got you this little quick shot and then put my camera away right away. I didn't want to break any of the rules, but I do want you to see that it is just a live dude with a microphone standing up there in front of their Punchliner logo, and it's a good time. Very low ceilings in here, so it feels like one of those intimate nightclub type of situations. And I actually enjoyed the show so much, so we're going to go back later on tonight and check out one of the more adult type shows. Alright, but first, we're going to head to the Alchemy Bar to grab another drink because, well, Alchemy Bar is Alchemy Bar. honestly, I said it a little while ago, I love the drinks at the Alchemy Bar, and we love the bartenders on this particular ship. By the time you're watching this, their contracts are all over because they were right at the end of their contracts anyway when we went there. But you know, make friends with your alchemists. If you want to be the kind of person that enjoys the drinks, definitely make friends on day one with the alchemist. Make sure you tip them well because they definitely earn it. They are giving you that full show experience instead of just here's your drink, go away. All right, after these drinks, we're gonna head to the main dining room for dinner. Wow, those look good. Those are the alligator fritters right there. We do review all this food in full for you on that food video, so you're going to want to go check that out. But just know that those are two of my favorite appetizers that you just saw. A lot of food this particular night, but again, I'll remind you that this isn't all just us. There are other people at our table with us, and this particular night we did order that sushi boat. It's an added charge. I think it's $24 at time of filming, but it's plenty of sushi, especially if you add it into what you're already eating at the main dining room. All right, back to the Punchliner Comedy Club. We grabbed a couple of drinks here, and I have a very interesting story about these drinks. So I'm gonna let Andrew and Melissa tell you about that instead of me just relaying it to you, because I feel like it's warranted that we share this story as it happened with you, because it was such a good time. So I'm gonna let them take over for just a minute. Here you go.
You know what though? I do want to take a moment while we're here on the subject. Our drinks were purchased for us by the cruise director tonight at this particular bar. He came in while we were in here. We had chatted with him earlier in the week. He caught us filming earlier in the week, and he just was checking in on us. He's like, "Are you lost or whatever?"
Yeah.
And he sent cookies to our room for us. He's
So
been
cute.
nothing but absolutely pleasant the entire time.
Yeah.
And I would have said this before he purchased our drinks tonight, so I'm going to say
yeah.
it right now out loud.
100%.
Louis is probably the best cruise director I've had.
He's great. He has the energy, like super high energy, but he also knows like,
When to pull it back.
yeah.
He's the perfect blend of like information, energy, activity, and calmness as well.
And I see him walking around and talking to people, and he remembers like everybody.
Openly friendly,
we saw
everything.
him walking past a couple, and he's like, "How was the gym today?" And I was like, "How do you know?" What?
If you were fortunate enough to have Louis as your cruise director, consider your cruise already going to be the best one you've ever been on.
Absolutely fantastic.
There you guys have it. What a great story. All right, so we headed up to Dr. Frankenstein's nightclub. We promised ourselves we'd try the nightclub at least once. Plus, we had to get this specialty cocktail at their bar for that bar hopping video. We're not really nightclubby kind of people, and I'm gonna say on the Alaskan Cruise, the nightclub's not really nightclubby kind of people. Alaskan Cruises tend to be more of a senior crowd, and well, they're not popping and locking on the dance floor, let's face it. When we went in, which I'm gonna show you in just a second, there was one dude dancing on the dance floor, a couple of his friends sitting down, and the two of us filming a little bit of footage for you. So just know, Alaskan Cruises, the nightclub's probably not going to be the hopping place you think it is. That being said, I've been on the nightclub on other itineraries, and they're absolutely phenomenal. So just know, if you're the nightclub kind of person, unless you're bringing a whole group with you, it's not going to be what you think it is on this cruise. All right, guys, that's day 5 through 7. We're gonna call it on this particular video. We're gonna call it on day 7 at the Endicott Fjord. I want to leave you with this beautiful shot of the moon over the ocean, and I just want to say, hey, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure. Bye. Hey everybody, Andrew from Braggins Adventures, and I wanted to take a quick moment to remind you to make sure you click subscribe and ring that notification bell. Why? Because we're giving out a $50 gift card to one lucky subscriber for Amazon.com. Now, to make this contest happen, we have to hit 400 subscribers by January 5th. So make sure you tell your friends to come on over and click that subscribe button.